Okay. Here we go. One of my favorite things on this planet is cleaning up old cameras. As you can see here, this is a very old, rather dusty, crusty camera. And, you know, someone might look at this and be like, oh, I don't know if it works, right? And like, I honestly don't really know if the light seals are good on this thing. I'll have to actually run some film through it and test it. But another one of my favorite things to do on this planet is test cameras in the thrift store before I buy them. And so I just want to show you how I test a camera in store before I decide to buy it. So yeah, I'm going to go ahead and show you what I did to determine that this camera, mechanically at least, seems to be working just fine. And I mean, isn't it gorgeous? It's so cute. I've always wanted an Olympus. I kind of wanted like a digital Olympus camera and didn't really want a film, but it doesn't really matter. I'm just happy to have this. I think it has a nice little lens. 42 millimeter is a very nice focal length, very, very versatile focal length, and I really hope this works. So what I did when I found this camera was give it a once over. And what should you do if you are mechanically testing a camera? First thing I always do is I try the shutter button. And this one actually wasn't depressing. It wasn't firing. But as you can see here, it now is firing. And the reason why it wasn't firing is because I think this is a self-timer dial, and it was like stuck or something. So that part might be a little bit wonky, or it might have gotten like some debris stuck under there or oils that made it get stuck. And so I just kind of messed around with this until the shutter successfully depressed. And so obviously the shutter button is working, but we want to see if the actual shutter within the camera is working. So the next step, of course, is to open this up. And if you're unfamiliar with cameras, you might be like, oh, how do we do that? I'm very, very familiar with these. A little too familiar. So usually on the side or something, or sometimes if it's like if it's an SLR, this little piece will pull up and that will open the back case. But here we have this little switch, lever, I don't know. You just pull that down and it pops right open. So as you can see, it is quite dusty inside. Actually, it looks way worse on camera than in person, but this area in here looks clean. Very, very good. And so now what we want to do is see if the shutter mechanism is working. Since we know that the button is depressing, we want to make sure the mechanism is working. And as you can see there, it is opening and closing. The leaves or whatever, are those called leaves? I don't know, whatever the shutter leaves are, they look very clean and they are opening and closing very nicely. And the next thing you can do is see if the shutter speeds change, which I don't know if I did on this one. So if we can remember how fast it was at 60, let's try 500 and see if that causes the shutter to go more quickly, which it should. So I think we already, oh, no we didn't. We advanced the film, we click, and it was much faster. And then just to show again that it's working, we're gonna put it on, let's do bulb actually. I haven't tested bulb. I was kind of like, there was a lot of cameras and I was really excited, so I didn't really take my time. But there's bulb, beautiful. Ooh, really nice, okay. And then let's try 15 or 1/15 of a second. Did I already? Yeah, I did. Okay. See, and that was slower. Beautiful. So it seems as though we're getting a nice range of shutter speeds that are all working. The next thing to test is the aperture. And the aperture ring on this camera honestly is kind of a pain. I think they really tried to make this camera really small and compact, which I really appreciate. I really like that about this camera. but you know, it's just a little bit difficult to work with this. So to see the aperture, you can look through the lens or you can look through the back of the camera. I think we're just gonna look at the front and see if we can get that on camera here. So I'm just gonna try and spin the wheel. Let's open it wider. So we're gonna push it this way. That's not the correct, oh, it was moving, okay. Hold on. There's an off switch for the aperture? That's weird. Oh, see, did you see it get wider there? I don't know if, did you guys see that? But anyway, so I guess some cameras you can twist it and you can see the, like if the lens is detachable from the camera, you can see the aperture opening as you widen it here, but this camera doesn't do that. So we currently have it wide open at f2.8, and I'll show you how big that is. There, that was quite big, right? The whole area was kind of open, and then if we change it to, let's just do f11. That was much smaller. So yeah, that is how I tested this camera mechanically. So if you're ever in a thrift store, always at least mechanically test the camera, because again, it appears that everything is working. Also the ISO also works, I believe. I can at least change it. It's not stuck. So this skill takes a lot of like fiddling with cameras or handling people's cameras or buying cameras and handling them. So if there's ever like a little, like if this was $4 and you just wanted to play around with it to see if you could learn the different dials and functions, I would definitely do that. Even if the camera doesn't work, it is fun to play around and just learn how different camera bodies operate. Essentially, most of them do the same things, at least film cameras anyway. So that, it looks like everything works mechanically. It does actually take a battery though. And this is another really important part of buying used cameras, is that sometimes a used camera might have excessive battery leakage. So if possible in store, you should always check the battery compartment to see if that is totally fried. I think this camera can actually operate without a battery. I'm not 100% sure, but it appears that the whole camera will function without the use of the battery. So and also the battery is locked up in this, coin release thing. So I didn't really want to take the time to do that in store, but we're going to go ahead and do that now and pray that, I'm pretty sure there's probably going to be a little bit of corrosion at least, but hopefully it's not too bad and horrible. These little cell batteries are usually not too bad. Okay. Definitely some corrosion present, but the inside looks pretty clean. So that is super, super lucky, and we're definitely going to clean out that battery compartment, but I would be really surprised if the battery compartment didn't work, given it's not too badly damaged. What was I saying? I wanted to say that you should always be really careful when you open battery compartments, because sometimes there is excessive leakage and you can get battery acid on your hands. That's why I'm wearing gloves right now. And yeah, that's just definitely an important part, because the whole camera can look great and then you open up the battery compartment and it's totally fried. So that's no good. Oh, the rangefinder. I was going to talk about the rangefinder. So this is a rangefinder. You probably can't see through the viewfinder, but given it's a rangefinder, I did test the focusing ring, and within the viewfinder there's like a little rangefinder thing. It's hard to explain. I'm not going to get into it. I wish I could show you, but the viewfinder does work. So that's all I needed to know. And yeah, so I think this guy is ready to be cleaned. I'm gonna watch some YouTube videos. I have a glass of wine here. I'm gonna watch some YouTube and drink some wine and just relax. Like, this is one of my favorite activities. All right, so that is all I have for this camera testing video. I actually filmed myself cleaning this entire camera, and I'm going to be making that into another video and releasing it next week. So if you would like to see that video, please subscribe. It's gonna be like a very chill, like play in the background type video with like lo-fi music and some rain sounds. So if you're into that kind of content, maybe subscribe to see it next week. But thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a beautiful day, and I will see you next time. Bye!